If you flip into one of my old journals from pretty much any point in my life, you're gonna see the same exact entries repeated over and over. I'm tired of thinking about the things I want to do more than I actually do them. Why is it so easy to imagine the life that I want, but so impossible to live it? I'm scared I'll be stuck like this forever. The worst part about feeling that way, it didn't matter how much I cared about something. I could feel it in my chest, wanting to start, this grief that I could not, and no matter what, not being able to execute what I wanted to do. I'll tell myself, just start, just begin, pick one thing. But instead, I would scroll, push it off, pace, or make some other perfect to-do list I couldn't follow. And then I'd be sick with guilt after. I know that I'm not the only person who's been through that. When I was in the thick of it, I thought I was. But since growing, since overcoming it, since researching about it, and since building a business around it, I know that there's a lot more of us than I realized. So I want to walk you through how I finally broke that cycle. Not through sheer force, not with some magic productivity hack, but by learning what was actually happening underneath these patterns. Let's break it down. For most of my life, I thought procrastination was about discipline. I believed that if I just tried harder, explored more methods, bought the right planner, I would get my act together. But here's the truth that changed everything. Procrastination wasn't my problem. It was a symptom of shame that told me that every task was a test, a symptom of perfectionism that made starting small feel pointless, and a symptom of emotional overwhelm that made my brain and body shut down the second I felt pressure. If any of those ring true for you, then please hear this. You don't need to fix your productivity system. You need to fix the relationship you have with your effort. And that starts with getting curious about your resistance instead of judging it. Now here's what my cycles used to look like. Firstly, the planning high. I'd write the perfect list, map out the whole month, color code every detail. It felt productive, but it wasn't momentum. It was control. Second was the avoidance spiral. The second a task felt emotionally loaded, important, uncertain, or vulnerable in a way, I would stall. Suddenly, the laundry seemed urgent, or wiping off the table that I never bothered to clean. Anything but the thing that threatened me. Third was the guilt crash. After hours or even days of not doing enough, the shame kicks in. You always do this. You're falling behind. And then I'd try to power through from a place of panic. Lastly, the overcompensation phase. I would force a burst of energy as a last resort. Hyper-focus for hours or days, maybe once a month. But it was unsustainable. It was coming from a place of scarcity, and it always led in a crash. That cycle felt personal, like it was my fault, but it was patterned. It was predictable, and that means it was fixable, and so is yours. This is the exact cycle I break down in my free guide, The Pendulum of Self-Sabotage. It walks you through the emotional root causes of your stuckness and gives you gentle, doable steps that don't feel like willpower or pressure. If that sounds like something you need, you can grab it at the link below. It's just a helpful starting point for when you're ready to shift this for real. So what changed? 3 foundational shifts. Forget starting strong. I started soft. Some days, opening the document and writing one sentence was my win, and then shutting the laptop and being okay with it. It doesn't sound impressive, but it built trust with myself, that I could trust myself to do what I said I'd do and that I'd be okay after. Because consistency isn't about how much you do. It's about showing up without fear, being able to talk down that fear because you know where it's coming from. Before, every task felt like a referendum on whether I was good enough. So I started asking, what would this task mean if it wasn't about proving anything? That mental shift made it feel safer to begin because my worth wasn't on the line anymore. And every time I got stuck, I'd say, okay, I'm pausing here. I wonder what's underneath that. It sounds simple, but that one line created space from the stuckness I was experiencing and the story I was used to telling about it. Instead of, I'm a horrible person, I can never get anything done, it became, something needs tending to here. That tiny insight turned my self-talk into a source of insight, not punishment. But remember, these changes didn't help me just get more done. When I came into this transformation, before I went through this transformation, before I even had the groundwork to build this business, I thought what I wanted was to get from where I was to being able to follow through on a whole to-do list any given open day with no resistance. That's what I wanted. I wanted the perfect routines for working out and cleaning my home and starting a business. But through that transformation, I changed my priorities entirely and without meaning to. And I still ended up on the other side with that life that I dreamt about. The routines, the business. But it wasn't just that. I stopped resenting myself for being inconsistent when I physically couldn't. I followed through without any emotional backlash. I genuinely felt proud of small progress, and I stopped waiting for a perfect day or perfect energy to begin. I started creating things, finishing things, trusted that showing up gently, even with small, minimum viable actions, was still showing up. I didn't become a machine either. I became a person I respected. If you've been stuck in that same loop for years, telling yourself, I should be able to figure this out by now, please hear this. It's not about effort. It's not about intelligence. It's not about age, because my clients are all throughout the age ranges. It's about unlearning the emotional patterns that keep you frozen. Inside my program, I help ambitious people just like you who have those big dreams, who want to make a difference, rebuild momentum without that pressure. If you're ready to explore whether that support is what you need, then my team would love to meet you. You can apply for a completely free discovery call using the link below. No pressure. It's a real conversation about what's keeping you stuck and how we can change that. Whenever you're ready, I'm here. And as always, stay in this corner of the internet as long as you need.